Let's think about for a second what is the main output of humanity? Right? What is the main output of every person? What is the main output of people as a collective humanity? Yeah? Is it our capacity to build cities? Certainly they're very easy to see, that output is, they're large, can't miss them. They house everyone, so, cities are pretty big. Is it our capacity to expand our population, right, to more than 6 billion, whatever it is now, 7 or 8 billion people? Is it our capacity to feed the world many times over? Right? Are these the biggest outputs of humanity? Well, actually, every single one of these pales into insignificance when we consider what the main output of the consumer and the human being is, and that is actually thought. Right? It's the energy that is generated from our thoughts. And when I use the word thoughts, I use that as a loose word. I use it as a kind of a collective of what we actually rationally think, of our impulses, of our feelings, of our desires. Right? Those energies, that thought, right, that is the biggest output of the human being. Right? Each and every person on the planet creates thought, even while we're asleep, even while our rational thoughts are asleep, are dormant. We're still having impulses, we're still dreaming. It's unceasing. It's like consumer consumption, like our consumption. It never basically ends, right? Human thought is an unstoppable force. You can't repress it, right? You can, people have been beaten into submission physically, to the point of death. But at no point did they stop thinking, at no point did they stop feeling, at no point did they stop experiencing or perceiving, right? That's how unstoppable it is. You cannot stop it, right? You can direct people's perceptions and you can direct their thoughts, but you cannot stop them from having thoughts or thinking, right? This is very, very important. Now, these thoughts, why are they so important? They're important because they are the precursor to everything, right? Unless we think of something first, we are not going to build it. So we have to think of that city, if you like, or think of the beginning of it, right, in order to actually create what it has become, right? So it's the thought that is the precursor. The thought is the precondition, if you like, to human life, right? They're the most powerful energies that we encounter. However, in the end, the paradox is that, yes, they are at once powerful and unceasing, but thoughts are also so ethereal, so wispish, they can disappear very, very quickly. And that's what we say in everyday language. We say, well, I've had a wave of thought, right? Like thoughts are emanating from our beings, which is why they are so wispish and difficult to capture. That's what we say. We actually say, let's capture that thought. How often have we all been in a room together with people at work discussing something? Let's capture that thought, like the thought is floating around somewhere and we actually need to actually capture it. So, deep down thoughts are waves of energy generated by each and every individual, right? So nothing, not even human life, can exist, if you like, without this thought and the accompanying perception, thought and perception, right? Perception and thought, which are pretty much the same thing, is everything, and perception is reality. What we see in front of us is purely and utterly perceived, right? Perception is reality. So this is why we ask people questions. This is why we bring people together in a room, into a focus group, right? It's in order to capture these waves of thought, to capture these waves of perception, to hear what they say, to understand what they feel, to capture feelings, right? This is the thing about feelings. You can capture them, right? But they are quite ethereal. Right? So it's a challenge to capture them and to articulate them, but it's actually very, very important that we basically do that. That is the whole point of marketing, is to understand what these thoughts are all about so that we can actually market to these thoughts and desires. But are we actually employing the best techniques, or even the right techniques, to capture these thoughts? Are we relying far too much on what people are saying, right, rather than what they're feeling, right? Or what they're actually really desiring? You know that there are needs and there are wants, right? You can't always get what you want, right? But you get what you need. In fact, what people say they want is often a red herring. It's a little bit of a furphy. It's what they need that we need to understand, because it's what they need that they will end up buying and going for, basically, right? Sometimes what we need and what we want are the same things, but there are many circumstances where what we need and what we want are not the same things at all, right? Especially in the way that we have our relationships with other people as well, right? So have we developed the right antenna to capture these thoughts. So, thought is a wonderful and infinite thing, but only a small fraction of our desires and our thoughts and our emotions are actually expressed. So therefore, using traditional research mechanisms, we're only capturing a small fraction of what we need of our thoughts. Are we really capturing what we need and what we actually feel? So brandOdyssey, again, is a system devised, which is a system has been devised as a way of capturing, right, to capture these feelings that are not easily expressed, or not expressed at all a lot of the time, but implied, and bringing that to life and articulating it so that we all have an understanding of what that is.